bulls have entered the ring.
All of us, we're all going to Chipotle in Ohio, where I'm from.
There was some kind of issue that was causing a problem with order flow coming only here into the New York Stock Exchange. It's unclear if it was a technical glitch.
It was interesting to see that this is the number now. It's more than $78,000 a year.
This is the CBS Morning News. Perfect, and it's just in time for Taco Tuesday, Elise.
We got to go, my friend.
A win.
The government can only really raise taxes and cut spending. But is that enough to get a handle on the debt? Affordability has become a serious issue once again. Is the American dream dead? If you were describing what the president of the New York Stock Exchange does, how would you describe that? First deliveries are scheduled for today, and Tesla is at this moment. It's hosting a launch event at its headquarters in Austin. What is the role of the U.S., especially when you think about the war between Israel and Hamas? What does the U.S. need to be doing?
I was shocked when I saw that number. I know from a historical perspective, it's certainly not the highest we've ever seen. If we go back to the 80s, and I don't know if all of us were around in the 80s. I know at least 3 of us were.
Lynn Martin has big plans for innovating this historic institution. Numbers are her North Star, but soft skills are a big part of her leadership toolkit, with communication at the top of the list.
I think as a leader, the most important thing you can do is communicate with people. It's why we've made the deliberate decision over the last year and a half to be out there, to be telling stories, to be having conversations with people, because people just want to convene and have conversations about what's going on in the macroeconomic environment, with companies, in markets, whatever the case may be. So I'm a data-driven person, so I tend to rely on a lot of numbers when I'm telling stories, but I couldn't tell those stories to as many people as I can without the electronic forms of communication and the technology.
If you were describing what the president of the New York Stock Exchange does, how would you describe that?
We have to keep our markets open. That involves having an open, transparent marketplace that's highly resilient, highly scalable, and highly performant and efficient, particularly during the most volatile periods in markets. Mainly, I think with any job, the most important thing is to stay close to your customers, develop services. We like to offer our companies tools as opposed to, telling them how they should really operate their businesses, tools that allow them to tell their stories. But importantly, if there are issues on their minds, we want to help amplify their voice.
What is your leadership style like?
I communicate a lot. That is one thing. I like to throw ideas out there. A lot of times I throw them out there for reactions. A lot of times I'm told I'm wrong, which is good because I want people to push back.
Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you'd be president of the New York Stock Exchange?
I did not. Growing up as a girl, it wasn't a career path, right? And that's one of the things I'm also really focused on, in being out there and having conversations with younger generations, because if you see yourself in a position, it means you can do it. When I was growing up, wasn't exactly a career path. I remember asking my mom how you got a seat on the stock exchange. Technology has really democratized access, and I think that has led to a lot more diversity in positions such as myself.
Martin believes it is the personal interactions that help drive a company's success.
I personally am in 5 days a week, but I'm very intentional about that because I don't know how to mentor the next generation of leaders unless I can actually have a conversation with them. And it's not always a formal, structured conversation. It's running into someone at the soda machine.
Right.
And saying, well, what do you like? And then that leads to, what happened in markets today?
Martin says those conversations keep her focused on the future. How do you take a place that's steeped so much in history and innovate?
It's one thing I always challenge our teams to do. You got to think outside the box. I'm not about just operating today's New York Stock Exchange. I want to build the New York Stock Exchange for the next 10 years from now, for 25 years from now, for the next 231 years. And I challenge my management team to do that every day.
Full steam ahead. The cruise industry is booming like never before.
Welcome to the era of the world cruise.
And the future is looking bright. cruise lines are gearing up for 2024 with new ships bigger than ever. Even more exotic destinations are on deck. And what customers won't see, a commitment to renewable energy across the industry.
The future of the cruise industry is fascinating.
Mark Elwood has been covering the travel industry for more than 20 years.
In cruise ships, it's about the toys.
Cruises are getting bigger. Is bigger better?
Is bigger better? They are piling as much on there as they can until it flips. They're putting go-kart races, they're putting roller coasters. Imagine a slide that goes right out into the ocean. They want you to think of this as an entertainment palace that happens to take you places, so the ship itself is of as much appeal as the place it's going.
A far cry from just 3 years ago when COVID crushed the business. But now the cruise industry is among the fastest growing in the travel and tourism sector. Some 36 million people are predicted to cruise in 2024 and 37.2 million in 2025. And investors have taken notice. Shares of some of the biggest cruise line operators, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian, far outpacing the broader stock market this year. So it is a beautiful day outside right now.
Beautiful day, absolutely.
We caught up with Royal Caribbean CEO Jason Liberty in Miami. What are you all doing as a company to reduce your carbon footprint, especially when you think about just how much it takes to fuel a ship like this?
There's a series of things that we're doing to really transition the energy platform. So as the new ships are coming out, they're introducing new technologies. So they're getting more and more efficient, and they're also being prepared to take on alternative fuels as those fuels become available and scalable and affordable.
But experts say achieving sustainability is a tall order for the cruise industry.
Until they're completely decarbonized, that's going to really be tough. These ships have gotten massive over the last couple of decades. They're transporting huge numbers of people to fragile economic environments.
No one in travel is doing enough to offset some of the questions around sustainability.
When it comes to 2024 and beyond, cruises are coming for your bucket list.
Welcome to the era of the world cruise. Cruising is scheduling destinations like the South Pacific, Australia. Cruising is going to give you a chance to go to those tiny islands, little bits of French Polynesia that you dreamed of. Now, if you want to see West Africa, you could take a cruise there. So I think you need to look at the world map and look at a place that you've never heard of, put a pin in it, and they're probably cruising then.